Collegiate debut as the head coach.
That
goes to show kung paano naiintindihan ng players and system. Hindi na rin
Magandang araw, San Sebastian. Welcome to Caritas at Scientia, the San Sebastian Research Colloquium. My name is Sarah Parungaw from External Affairs Office, and I am your host for today. Ang sabi ng Nobel Prize winner na si Albert St. Gorky, sabi niya, research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. Research is so important. That is why this event seeks to strengthen the research culture of our institution. This is a collaboration project of the Research Department and the IGS, headed by Dr. Ponce and Dr. Maranan. So thank you so much, sirs. We welcome everyone watching us from junior high school, senior high school, college, and graduate school, and all of the Sebastianian community to this event. We recognize the support of Father Henry and Father Fornilos and the members of the school boards today. We are live via Zoom, and we're also live. You're watching us right now on Facebook sa ating Stags page. So welcome everyone. And right now, please ready for our national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, pelas na silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisigin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit bumughaw, may dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng matawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdilingdig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng buwan, ating pagsinta mo'y langit sa piling mo. Ang iligaya na pa, may mga api ang mamatay na dahil sa'yo.
May we invite Sir Albert Calalo, the college faculty, to lead us in our opening prayer.
Let us put ourselves in the presence of our Lord, in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear God, we offer everything to you during this webinar. May we ask for your blessing and divine providence that the activity set for this undertaking be successful and effective. May we also retain the invaluable knowledge and learning experiences that we derive from this research colloquium for actual application. Our Father who art in heaven, holy be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Our Lady of Mount Carmel, the San Sebastian, pray for us. Saint Sebastian, pray for us. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, sir. And now for our opening remarks, tinatawag ko po Dr. Mario Maranan, Head of the Research Department.
During the planning stage of the 81st Foundation celebration, a lot have been so quiet as to giving of suggestions of activities, considering this challenging time, and the reality that those who suggest must also be the one to manage and execute. Ang sabi ng iba, bakit ko naman pahihirapan ang sarili ko? This notion is, however, not the same notion that the Research Center has been clamoring, believing that the challenging time should be considered as an opportunity to boast the scholarly works of the members of the school community rather than being a burden on our part. Ang pananaliksik ay isa sa mga pundasyon ng isang maganda at matatag na akademikong institusyon. Research is one of the pillars of a strong academic institution. Without research, our dream of becoming a university is far from reality, malayo sa katotohanan. Research submission or publication is one facet of research that has been successfully achieved by the Research Center. But research does not confine to the completion of paper alone. It necessitates utility or usefulness, either through presentation and output implementation. We are almost there, but here comes the pandemic. This pandemic has halted a lot of things, not only in the Philippines, but also in the whole world. The tourism sector was vastly affected. A lot of aviation facilities were shut down and hence affected and continuously affecting our economy and the lives of people. A lot became unemployed and fearing that when they wake up, there is no more hope to live. In our world, in the world of academia, do we need to stop as well? Great scholars have answered this in negative. The hope that the world needs is in our hands. Pinasasalamatan ko po ang lahat ng researchers natin na tinanggap ang aming hamon na harapin ang palihang ito. Bagamat marami po ang kinakabahan, pero ipinagmamalaki ko po silang lahat dahil nangingibabaw sa kanilang paninindigan. Hindi po sila bayag at hindi rin po sila takot na makipagbalitaktakan sa debate at mungkahin ng aming mga reactors. Our researchers are potential leaders because they know how to discern facts from fakes. Ganon naman po dapat, radikal at critical, pero hindi marunong umatras sa matinding hamon ng panahon. The Research Center and the Institute of Graduate Studies believe that having an activity like this is essential so that we can plant the seed of hope. In other words, a quality education. In behalf of Reverend Father Ferdinand V. Fornilos, OAR, and Reverend Father Henry Santiago, and the members of the school board, all administrators, it's my honor to welcome all of you in this research endeavor. Mabuhay and bravo, Baste.
Maraming salamat, sir. Napakaganda po ng inyong mga sinabi sa ating opening remarks. Welcome, everyone. Ilan na tayo ngayon sa Zoom? Oh, we are 224 right now sa ating Zoom. We just don't know kung ilan pa yung nanonood sa ating live. And yung mga pumapasok, napakarami pa rin po. So maraming salamat sa bawat isa. I-type nyo nga dun sa ating comment section. Tignan natin ha. Paki-type nga po, I'm ready. If you're really ready. Tignan natin. Type nyo, I'm ready. Sa mga participants natin, lalo na sa mga presenters, I'm ready. Yun. Yeah, I think ready na yata ang bawat isa na nasa atin. Meron lang tayong susubukan ngayon. Si Dr. Maranan yung gustong mag-try nito. Ang tawag dito, Mentimeter. Tignan natin yung pulso ng Sebastino. Okay, meron kayong makikitang link. Yun, ready na talaga lahat. Sige po. Okay, meron kayong makikitang link dun sa gilid sa ating comment section. Titignan natin, sino dito? Is it from junior high school, from senior high school, from college, or from graduate school ang well-represented for our colloquium for today? Pwede bang ma-share yon? Yung ating link kung saan sasagutan nila? Oh, ayan na. Lumalabas na po. From NTP, from college. College department, nakikita natin. Oh, mukhang marami sa college department. Nasaan na yung mga senior high school? Yeah, ayan. Oh, ETEAP. Ayan na. Pumapasok na yung mga senior high school. Tignan natin. Grabe tong Mentimeter, Sir Mariano. Pinakamarami ang sa college. Alright. Mukhang nababago pa. Okay. Sobrang dami ng college. Yeah, I think very well represented ang ating college department for today. Good job. So thank you so much. Mamaya po, meron pa po ulit tayong Mentimeter. So yeah, welcome to everyone, lalong-lalo na sa well-represented ngayon na college department. Good afternoon. At eto pa nga, meron tayong gagawin. Magkakaroon tayo ng icebreaker. Sino dito ang nangangailangan ng 100 pesos GCash? Oh, marami dito. Marami nandito sa paligid ko. Sabihin mo, ako yun. No? Ayun, ako po. Kailangan natin yan. Okay. Sir Mario, pwede po bang pa-stop share po nung ating Mentimeter? Mukhang college department yung pinakamarami sa atin ngayong araw na to. Okay. For our first question, so this is the mechanics po para sa ating laro. Ang gagawin nyo lamang po, itatype ninyo po yung sagot paunahan. When I count 1, 2, 3, go, yun lang po yung ating sasagutin. Okay? Doon lang tayo sasagot. Okay. Wait lang po. Sir Mario, pwede pong pa-stop share po nung yun. Thank you, sir. Maraming salamat po. Mamaya ulit, Mentimeter tayo ulit. Okay. So for our first question, this is for 100 pesos. Ready na ba kayo, mga keyboard warriors? Ready na? Ready na? Okay. First question. Ano ang tema natin for this year's foundation anniversary? Anong tema natin for this year's foundation anniversary? Wala mo nang sasagot? Ready? Get set, go! Oh, tama si Ma'am Gladys. Ito, journeying together, stronger as one. Parang yung iba hindi yata alam no? Yun, nakaano na. So yun, si Miss Gladys, good job. Journeying together, stronger as one. Yan po ang ating theme for this year's anniversary. So meron ka ng 100, ma'am. Pakinote na lang po yun. Okay? Pakinote na lang po natin. Or just send us yung inyong number later. We'll contact you. Okay? Next. Isa pa. Sino po ang ating incumbent president dito sa San Sebastian ngayon? Ready? Wala pa akong go. Ready? Get set. Go. Okay. Sandali. Tingnan natin. Ma'am, sino na una? Ang bilis nila yung pangalawa daw. O sige, si ma'am na yung titingin dyan. Wait lang. Titingnan natin. Alright. Sandali. Titingnan ko sino. 100 pesos GCash po ito ha. Maraming salamat po, research@IGS. Okay. Alright. Sige, later tignan ko po kung sino po yun. Nandito naman yun sa chat. Okay, ngayon po, we will proceed. So, dalawa na yung nanalo sa atin. Mamaya po, we'll contact you kung paano nyo makakuha yung GCash. Isasend po namin ngayon sa inyo. And right now, ano nga ba yung Caritas at Scientia? Oh, from different departments po ang ating mga contributors for today. At ito po yung mechanics natin. Pwede po bang pa-present? Ano nga ba yung mga mechanics natin? Tignan po natin. Okay. So this is the criteria for judging. Sa best paper presenter po natin, the panel of reactors, na later po ay babanggitin ko, 85% po. Pero tignan nyo, meron din kayo, kaya kailangan nyo rin po makinig kasi 15% po ng overall ay manggagaling mula sa audiences. Ang nakalagay dito, the researcher is innovative and artistic in the presentation of his paper, that is 50 points. The researcher possesses a wide background of the subject matter, 10 points. The researcher has the ability to express himself fluently and clearly, 10 points. The researcher is receptive to the suggestions, 10 points. The researcher is tactful and shows maturity in the deliberations, 10 points. And the researcher possesses a wide background on the subject matter, 10 points. But of course, yung audience impact po natin, yung inyong choice is 15 points. So makinig po tayo. Okay? Now, I'm going to present to you the panel of reactors. Ito po yung ating panel of reactors. Ms. Maria Luisa C. De Vera, Faculty Junior High School Department from San Sebastian, Recoletos, Manila. Ms. Olga Pagia, Faculty Grade School Department from San Sebastian. Mr. Remor Doneza, Faculty San Sebastian, College-Recoletos, Cavite Campus, and of course, Dr. Cristina Caluza, Faculty College Department, San Sebastian, College-Recoletos, Manila. Oh, so hindi na natin patatagalin pa. Alam ko, very excited na kayo para marinig yung ating mga presenters. Pero sino-sino ba tong mga to? Unang-una po, si Ms. Hazel Pamaran, Faculty of the College Department, Dr. Corazon and Mr. Paulo Daya, Dean and Faculty from San Sebastian, Canlubang, Ms. Abigail Felices, Grade School Librarian, Dr. Ricardo Opido, Faculty of IGS, Ms. Jennifer Carag of ITAYAP, Mr. Samuel Alfon, Faculty of the Senior High School. So all presenters shall present first their researches. The presentation would be presented in a group of threes with an icebreaker in between. After the presentation po, the panel of reactors shall give their comments. After such, 10 to 15 minutes of deliberation po muna tayo. There will be two winners. May dalawang winner po tayo. Yung una ay yung best presenter at yung kanyang pong prize na makukuha ay 5,000 pesos. And of course, yung ating grand prize, which is the Caritas at Scientia Researcher of the Year, ay makakakuha po ng 10,000 pesos. So hindi na natin patatagalin pa, simulan na po natin to present her research. Webinar Initiatives of the Human Resource Development Amidst Pandemic, Basis for a Proposed Plan of Action. This is by Ms. Hazel Pamaran. Makinig po tayo.
Good day. This is Ms. Hazel Pamaran, faculty from the College Department. I'll be presenting to you my research on webinar initiatives of the Human Resource Development amidst pandemic, basis for a proposed plan of action. Webinar is now the trend for hosting meetings, conferences, and live stream events while employees are working remotely. This was supported by Dr. Collins as enunciated by Cornell that there is an enhancement of engagement and productivity in the workplace through these webinars. Cambridge Dictionary defines webinar as an online platform used by a group of people to study and discuss something. It is used for training and education using video conferencing services of Zoom and Google. This undertaking is intended to assess the different webinars as part of the Human Resource Department engagement in the development of well-being of the employees amidst trying times brought about by the pandemic. The Human Resource Development Center had initiated a series of webinars during the pandemic. Significant webinars initiated are working in the development of employees' well-being that includes spiritual, social, physical, intellectual, and emotional. This research aims to answer the problems in the webinar assessment of respondents based on category, department, nature, purpose, and number of attendees. Through feedback, it gives organizer how well an event was received by the attendees. This research sought answers to the following research questions. Number 1, what is the profile of the webinar as to A. Category, B. Department, C. Nature purpose, D. Number of attendees. Number 2, how do respondents assess the webinars based on the following? A. Objective, B. Program and implementation, C. Speaker. And lastly, is there a significant relationship between the respondents' assessment of the webinars when they are grouped according to their profile? And number 4, based on the findings, what plan of action can be proposed? Through webinars, learning opportunities for teachers remain inclusive and accessible. Teachers started to embrace changes in how they plan, teach, guide, and work with students in this health crisis. Webinars are the safest option during pandemic. It brings people from different places into one platform for learning. The meta-analytic review of Gegenfertner and Ebner shows that webinars and face-to-face classroom teaching are comparable in their effectiveness to promote student learning. They prove that webinars offer high levels of flexibility for the learners even if achievement effects of webinars are small. This is because students can attend lectures at home or at their workplace without the temporal and monetary cost of traveling. For the Human Resource Department to strengthen its organizational strategy and effectiveness, the department needs to have programs and support to its workforce development needs. A descriptive research design using quantitative approach was used in this undertaking. It emphasizes on objective measurements and the statistical, mathematical, or numerical analysis of data collected through polls, questionnaires, and surveys, or by manipulating pre-existing statistical data using computational techniques. Quantitative research focuses on gathering numerical data and generating it across groups of people or to explain a particular phenomenon. The evaluation of the various seminars initiated by the Human Resource Department covering October 2020 to June 2021 was collated by the researcher. Appropriate statistical tool was thereafter applied. After conducting a webinar, collecting feedback from the participant helps the HRDC to plan and improve next scheduled webinars. Participants are well informed that an online survey questionnaire must be accomplished and submitted at the end of the program. An online evaluation link that contains a survey questionnaire is being sent to the webinar participants that appears in the chat box of the virtual online platform used. Upon receipt of their submitted forms online, the researchers will collect, tabulate, interpret, and analyze the results. The following statistical tools were used in this undertaking. Number 1, frequency and percentage, and number 2, weighted mean. Let's go to discussions. Table 1 shows that most of the respondents of this undertaking have attended the seminars, which can be categorized as neither institutional nor departmental based on the frequency score of 154 or a percentage of 49.84 of respondents. It can be deduced from the Table 2 that this undertaking was denominated by respondents from the basic education based on the frequency and percentage of their attendance to the various webinars initiated by the Human Resource Department based on the highest frequency score of 275 or a percentage of 89. There were few respondents from the non-teaching personnel as evidenced by the frequency score of 24 or a percentage of 7.77. Surprisingly, no participation from the College of Law and Graduate School was obtained in the undertaking. Table 3. is an illustration of how the various webinars initiated by the Human Resource Department was participated in by the respondents. Surprisingly, the attendees within the bracket 41 to 50 had predominated webinars as evidence of the highest frequency score of 85, or a percentage of 27.51, followed by those who have attended the webinars with 21 to 30 participation based on the frequency score of 69, or a percentage of 22.33. Table number 4. Data shows that the webinars honing the academic competency of the attendees was the most attended webinar based on the highest frequency score of 95, or a percentage of 30.74. It was followed by a webinar addressing the economic concerns of the employees with a frequency score of 68, or a percentage of 22.01. It must be noted that the spiritual aspect was never addressed to on the webinars initiated by the Human Resource Department as shown in the table. Ordinarily, objective is the primary aspect that an event organizer would deal with in designing a program, as it would set direction on how the program is to be planned and executed. Interestingly, Table 5 shows that the respondents have agreed that the Human Resource Department was able to achieve its objectives of the various webinars they instituted amidst pandemic based on the weighted mean score of 4.46. Table number 6. As shown in table number 5, most of the respondents agreed on the effectiveness of the Human Resource Department in the program and implementation of the various webinars they instituted amidst pandemic, as evidenced by total mean score or 4.3980. Interestingly, the manner on how the Human Resource Department handled the entirety of the program and the substantiality of the program were the most satisfying variable, as supported by the highest mean score of 4.48, followed by the clarity of the presentation of the topic, which obtained the second highest weighted mean score of 4.660. Note, however, that among the variables given, it was found out that the ability of the organizer to solicit audience participation was the least satisfying variable, as it obtained the least weighted mean score of 4.24, seconded by the adequacy of time, which obtained the weighted mean score of 4.24. Another key element of the program, which was initiated by the Human Resource Department, was the speaker in the respective webinars executed. Table 7 shows that the most of the were satisfied with the invited speakers based on the total mean score of 4.48. Good communication skills was highlighted by the respondents, as the said variable has obtained a higher weighted mean score of 4.4919. Table 8 shows that the respondents were generally happy about the outcome of the various webinars instituted by the Human Resource Department, as evidenced by the grand mean score of 4.45. It must be emphasized that among the variables given, the aspect describing the performance of the speaker was the most predominant variable, as it obtained the highest weighted mean score of 4.4822. Surprisingly, the program and implementation was the least satisfying variable for the respondents based on the least weighted mean score of 4.39.80. It can be gleaned from the Table 9 that there is a significant relationship between the respondents' assessment of various webinars initiated by the Human Resource Department when grouped according to the category of the webinar as it's obtained a fee value of 0.104, which is higher than 0.05. Thus, reject the null hypothesis. This means that the category of the webinar is a factor to the attendance of the respondents. Table 10 is an attestation that the membership of the respondents in a department is a significant factor to their assessment in the various webinars initiated by the Human Resource Department, based on the p-value of 0.065, which is greater than the p-value of 0.05, thereby rejecting the null hypothesis. This only proves that the needs of the various departments must always be taken into consideration by the Human Resource Department in the design of their webinar initiatives, as the same are essential to the respondents of this undertaking. Table 11 shows that the number of attendees in a webinar could affect the way they assess the various webinars initiated by the Human Resource Department based on the p-value 0.495, which is greater than 0.05, thereby rejecting the null hypothesis. The results of this undertaking clarify that the number of attendees in a specific webinar is a consideration that must be taken into whenever a webinar is to be initiated for a specific purpose. Table number 12. Table 12 proves that the purpose of the webinar could not affect the way of the respondents would assess it based on the p-value of 0.002, which is lesser than the p-value of 0.002, thereby accepting the null hypothesis. The results only show that the purpose of the seminar is not taken much into consideration by the respondents whenever they attend a webinar initiated by the Human Resource Department. No webinar initiated to develop the spiritual well-being of a person. The following conclusions were drawn from the findings of this study. The respondents, who were mostly from the Basic Education Department, few from college and NTP, while none from the Graduate Studies and School of Law, have attended the various webinars initiated by the Human Resource Department, which can be categorized as neither departmental nor institutional, and with 41 to 50 attendees only. The academic aspect and the development of economic and social aspects were the highlights of the webinars attended by the said respondents. The respondents were generally happy about the outcome of the various webinars instituted by the Human Resource Department, notwithstanding its shortcoming in the program implementation. Nonetheless, this undertaking proves the high satisfaction level of the respondents on speakers they have invited and on the rationale or objectives of the webinars. The assumption that there is a significant relationship between the respondents' assessment of the various webinars when they are grouped according to category of the webinar that they attended must be rejected, meaning the category of a webinar is a factor to their attendance. With regards to the relationship of the respondents' assessment of the webinars when they are grouped according to the department they belong. This study has affirmed also of the rejection of the null hypothesis, meaning the said membership in the department is a factor to their attendance. The relationship between the respondents' assessment of the webinars when they are grouped according to the number of attendees in a webinar must also be rejected, clarifying that the number of attendees in a specific webinar is a consideration that must be taken into whenever a webinar is to be initiated for a specific purpose. Meanwhile, the assumption that there is no significant relationship between the respondent's assessment when grouped according to the purpose of the webinar must be accepted, based on the fee value obtained. The results only shows that the purpose of the seminar is not taken much into consideration by the respondents whenever they attend a webinar initiated by the Human Resource Department. The following recommendations were formulated in a view of data obtained findings of this undertaking. Organize a webinar that would address more pressing issues that could help the development of the well-being and spiritual development of the employees, especially amidst pandemic and on these trying times. Number 2, organize more definitive webinars as to its category and purpose to ensure more participation from the various departments at SSC-R. Number 3, design a matrix or a rubric to ensure that important aspects in the formation and development of the human capital will be addressed accordingly. Number 4, conduct a survey as basis for the needs analysis of the employees. Number 5, improve the information dissemination as to ensure more participation from the respondents. Number 6, review the evaluation instrument to tailor fit the needs of the new normal. Lastly, send customized invitations, reminder emails, sharing the presentation material, sending thank you notes to attendees can help to create personalized experience. That ends my presentation. Once again, this is Ms. Hazel G. Pamran, faculty from the College Department. Thank you and bravo baste.
Wow, napakaganda po. Thank you so much, Ms. Hazel Pamaran. Ang kanyang research is about webinar initiatives of the human resource development amidst pandemic, basis for a proposed plan of action. And right now, nandito na po tayo sa pangalawa, but before that, we would like to acknowledge and recognize the students and faculties from San Sebastian Canlubang. And of course, kasama po natin ngayon sa Zoom, si Father Henry and si Father Fernilos. So maraming pong salamat. Going to our next presenter, ang kanyang research is about parents' preferences on establishing pre-elementary and elementary program in San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Canlubang. Mula po sa Canlubang, Dr. Corazon and Mr. Paulo Daya, Dean and Faculty from San Sebastian, Canlubang.
Good day, Sebastianians. My name is Paulo J. Andaya from the College Department of San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Canlubang, and on behalf of my co-researcher, Dr. Corazon A. Cosico, our College Dean, I will be presenting our research project entitled The Parents' Preferences on Establishing Pre-Elementary and Elementary Program in San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Canlubang. To introduce the research project, the following reasons are considered in the process of identifying the matters needed to be focused on the study. First, the research is done to identify the factors that affect parents' scholastic preference for pre-elementary and elementary education of their children, as well as to determine the feasibility of establishing pre-elementary and elementary education offerings in San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Canlubang. Also, if the plans for pre-elementary and elementary education offerings are pushed through, the research will be helpful for the planning and implementation procedure of the said project. The conceptual framework of the study deals with the feasibility of establishing pre-elementary and elementary program in San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Canlubang, in which it is based on the preferences of the respondents, which are in this case the parents of the existing students of the school, to an educational institution offering pre-elementary and elementary education. The demographic information of the respondents are also collected and profiled for their locale and status of feasible clients once the school opens the program offerings. After the data is gathered, analysis through descriptive and statistical means follows, in which the conclusion and direction for future use is based. To attain the objectives of the research project, the researchers opted to determine the factors focused on identifying the considerations of the parents when choosing a school for their pre-elementary and elementary children. Eventually, it also helped to identify the feasibility of establishing pre-elementary and elementary program in San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Canlubang, located at Barangay Canlubang, Calamba City, Laguna. Specifically, the following problems are answered by the researchers. First, what are the demographic profiles of the respondents based on the following information? Their place of residence, the number of their pre-elementary and elementary level child or children, and their monthly family income. Second, what are the preferences of the parents when it comes to the pre-elementary and elementary education of their children based on the following factors? The school curriculum, the school facilities and environment, the school's academic performance, and lastly, the quality of the school teachers. Lastly, what other factors may affect the parents' preferences on where they would send their child or children for pre-elementary and elementary schooling. For the research methodology, quantitative research approach is utilized, specifically through descriptive research design to numerically describe the phenomena tackled in the research project, which is, in this case, are the factors for scholastic preferences of parents as our main research respondents. To gather the data needed for the researcher devised a researcher-made school preference questionnaire inspired by the findings of Jacob, Osman, and Bachok in 2014, which identifies the 4 factors that parents consider when choosing a school for their children. The 4 factors include the school curriculum, the school facilities and environment, the school's academic performance or ranking, and the quality of school teachers. Also embedded in our school preference questionnaire is a section which asks other factors that could either be a pushing or pulling factor for the respondents to choose SSC-R Canlubang as their school of choice for pre-elementary and elementary education. Upon collecting the data and subjecting it to analysis of means, the following findings are procured by the researchers. For the demographic profile of the respondents, which includes 125 parents of our existing students from high school and college department with either elementary or pre-elementary level child or children, it is revealed that 116 or 84% of them are from the Laguna area, which includes the cities of Calamba, Cabuyao, Santa Rosa, and Binyan, while 57 or 45.6% of them have an average monthly family income amounting to equal or less than 20,000 pesos. For the factors directly attributed from the school preference questionnaire, the general weighted mean base of base of a 3-point Likert scale of each factors are as follows. For school curriculum, having a weighted mean of 2.78 interpreted as highly preferred, it means that the respondents would highly prefer schools which offers religion and values education classes, as well as schools that incorporates different academic and non-academic clinics or clubs, which include but is not limited to science and mathematics club, sports clinic, and arts clinic. Second, for the school facilities and environment, having a weighted mean of 2.67 interpreted as highly preferred, it means that the respondents also take into consideration the location and ambience of the school, as well as different facilities provided by the school other than those prescribed by the law. Third, for the school's academic performance or ranking, having a weighted mean of 2.66 interpreted also as highly preferred, it means that the respondents give high regards or importance to the school's academic performance in comparison with the other schools within the vicinity of the school's location or offering the same programs and levels as part of their decision-making process when choosing a school for their children. Lastly, for the quality of teachers, having a weighted mean of 2.70, interpreted also as highly preferred, it means that the respondents also take into consideration the quality of teachers within the school. The respondents emphasize on both having seasoned and new teachers, but more importantly, those possessing good communication skills which will enable the teachers to communicate the needs of the students to the parents themselves. As for the other factors that affects the preferences of the parents towards a particular school, the pulling factor or the factors for preferences includes the quality of educational services, the school's physical location and accessibility, and lastly is the school branding. On the other hand, factors which affects the non-preference of a parents towards particular school primarily include the financial capability of the parents, the school locations and accessibility, and lastly, the religious and other personal matters that are experienced by the respondents. So based on these findings, or based on the data gathering procedure and the application of the basic data analysis procedures, the researchers came up with the following conclusion. First, the demographic profile of the respondents, which are the parents of would-be pre-elementary and elementary students of SSC-R Canlubang, plays a crucial role to whether they would prefer the school for the schooling of their children. Hence, the family's residence and average monthly income plays a crucial role in their school preference. Second, all the factors concerning to school preferences, namely the school curriculum, the quality of its teacher, the school facilities and environment, and its academic performance are the main areas of concern in the process of creating and offering pre-elementary and elementary programs in San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Canlubang. Aside from the four main factors, other factors such as school educational services, location and accessibility, and parents' financial capability must also be tackled in the planning and development stage of these offerings of pre-elementary and elementary program in San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Canlubang. Third, maintaining high-quality education and the provision of good school services are also crucial, as parents usually refer to their own experiences with the school to whether they would prefer and eventually recommend the school to other parents and guardians. Thus, maintaining high quality of education and provision of school services is crucial, specifically for the marketing procedures or marketing processes of the school itself. Lastly, upon the analysis of the responses given by the respondents regarding their school preference for the schooling of their pre-elementary and elementary children, it does show promising results and references to what the school needs to address to successfully facilitate and launch their pre-elementary and elementary school offerings. Thus, it is feasible for the administrators of San Sebastian College-Recoletos to open pre-elementary and elementary offerings at SSC-R Canlubang. So drawing from the conclusion of the study, the following recommendations are given by the researchers. First, that the research findings, including the demographics of the respondents and the factors related to school preferences, can serve as a reference for the decision-making, planning, and implementation process of the said proposal of opening pre-elementary and elementary offerings or programs in San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Canlubang. And lastly, and most importantly, continuous action research projects in the futures aim to further empower the delivery of educational services is a must, as the school must keep up with the changes that and will happen in the field of education in the future. And with that, that is all for our presentation. Thank you very much and bravo, Baste.
Marami pong salamat, Sir Paulo Daya. And of course, ito po yung kanilang research with Ms. Dr. Corazon. Parents' preferences on establishing pre-elementary and elementary program in San Sebastian College, Recoletos, Canlubang. And right now, to further our research presentation, Ms. Abigail Felices and Mrs. Princess Arlene Zamora. Ang kanilang research is Relevance of Digitalization in San Sebastian College, Recoletos, Manila Libraries, a Pandemic Revelation.
Good day, I am your presenter, Ms. Abigail Felices, the grade school librarian. I will be presenting the relevance of digitization in SSC-R Manila Libraries, a Pandemic Revelation. This paper is in collaboration with Mrs. Princess Arlene Zamora of the Data Protection Office and also a college faculty. For the outline, we have the introduction and theoretical framework, conceptual framework and statement of the problem, review of related readings, methodology and discussions, conclusions and recommendation, and lastly, we have the references. So the COVID-19 pandemic recently affected people around the globe and up to this date continuously affects some countries who has not recovered yet from economic loss, educational conflict, and many more. The result of this pandemic blows the mind of different sectors, specifically the educational area here in the Philippines. All classes are being done through the use of Zoom meeting, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, and many more other applications where online classes can be catered. So this decision has raised a lot of concern, especially on how students are going to access information sources that can only be found in the library. Though there are a lot of online publication, there's no fact denying that some access is limited and researchers and students have to pay for subscription to gain full access. By this, a call for digitization is needed. In the most basic sense, Kanapanavar in 2010 refers to digitization as the conversion of material that were originally created in another format into an electronic form. So despite the challenges in utilizing digital technologies in education and teaching, the importance of adoption and use of digital technologies in school education should not be underestimated. So when an unexpected situation arises, and such policies like quarantine or lockdown becomes the only option for a country, it is necessary to have these information sources available in any form so that researchers will still be able to have the information they need. So as information providers, it should be a librarian's duty and a library's duty and responsibility to provide full access of information sources inside or outside the library. Conditioning a library with the changes in the fast-paced development in technology will help deeply in improving library services. Digitization for Yu and Litinen et al. 2010 described that it is the transformation of socio-technical structure and relationship that takes place when moving from non-digital artifacts to digital artifacts. So by this, they came up with 3 stages or 3 waves of digitization. First is the transitioning of analog content to digital content, which means that it's taking place without fundamental changes in the natural or industry structure. So it shouldn't affect the original processes of the organization or the library. Second is separating devices that were historically tightly coupled. It simply means that data, devices, and network and services should be independent to each other. Third is the emergence of novel product. It is also affected by this remixing of devices, services, and content were created to the purpose the usage. Aside from this, digitization does not only preserve information sources, it also promotes extended library services for distance learning. In 1991, Moore developed the theory of transactional distance, and Gunuwaderma and Mac-Isaak in 2004 further explained the transactional distance. That distance is determined by the amount of dialogue occurring between the learner and the instructor and the amount of structure within the design of the course. For the conceptual framework, so this figure shows the 3 sets of independent variables used in the study. First one is it focuses on the demographic profile of the library users, including the age, gender, and school classification if there are faculty, student, or librarians. Second focuses on the perception of the library's users to the library and library service and the effectiveness of digitization to the library. All of these independent variables will influence the dependent variable, the establishment of the basis of the importance of digitization to the San Sebastian College-Recoletos Manila libraries. So the main output of the study is designed to accomplish. For statement of the problem, the study aims to find out the importance of digitization in SSC-R Manila libraries. Specifically, it seeks to answer the following question. First is the demographic profile of the respondents, including the age, gender, and classification. Third is how can the library system and service be improved if implemented? Third is how can digitization affect the effectivity and efficiency in terms of library service? Fourth is what are the advantages and disadvantages of digitization in library services? For review of related readings, digitization has been seen as the way to provide service in time of pandemic where establishment and even educational institutions were closed to avoid physical contact. So in the study of Zafari in 2020, he claimed that distance education is not a very brand new concept, having said that it is taking time to get momentum, but it is true that distance education will take place very soon. So the role of digitization, in case distance education become a normal and not anymore a trend or a replacement for face-to-face classes, is very important. It will be a way to reach a wider audience and researchers. For methodologies, the researcher employed qualitative methodology to achieve its objective, and the researcher used purposive sampling wherein the researcher will choose library users composed of 5 students, 3 faculty, and 4 librarians of SSC-R Manila libraries. Each of these library users will be interviewed and observed with the proper documentation and approval. Discussion. So the library is a place and home of knowledge, and it need ways to cope up with the prolonged distance learning caused by the pandemic. The relevance of digitization in SSC-R Manila is indeed one way to prove that the library is looking for other ways to better improve the library system and services in the case distance learning is implemented. So the purpose of this study is mainly to know the relevance of digitization. For the improvement of library system and services, if digitization is implemented, Informant 1 specifically stated that I used to come up with the library daily to study and do my research. Unfortunately, as of the global pandemic started, such thing isn't possible anymore. So the pandemic is indeed a wake-up call to libraries that it is the time for innovation and digitization. Even after pandemic, it is uncertain that things would go back to normal, especially with the implementation of online learning or distance learning education. For the effect of digitization in effectivity or efficiency of library service, the understanding of digitization is not quite clear with some. However, it is very clear to every librarian that the effect of digitization to the effectivity and efficiency of library services is important. As stated for Informant 2, the digitization will help to strengthen the library services by allowing both institution and library clients to easily retrieve the information that they require once digitization is fully implemented by the library. So this reality in the library digitization is one of the way to maximize library services for clients nearby, and especially for the distance learner. So through digitization, the library is extending its service towards the students having their distance learning program will be easier. This is according to Informant 3. So aside from easy access, Informant 5 even believes that it increases efficiency and it protects record and it makes record retrieval easy. So with the current situation, the uncertainty of what will happen in the future, libraries, librarians, and an institution must be prepared to provide service both to those who can go physically to the library and those who will be availing the distance learning education. So the digitization in the library is relevant, especially during this time where the only way to provide a better service is through online. There are advantages and disadvantages of digitization in library services. So for the disadvantages, the library digitization requires almost no physical space to maintain it as long as there's a computer to process the digitization. So since information sources will be available online in the internet through digitization, it is possible to easy access the source anytime and any day. Aside from the easy access, library digitization make it possible to search by keywords. So for example, you just put the word express, title, or the author. It also helps in data retrieval, in easy data retrieval. However, there are disadvantages. So since digitization is process of converting physical books, documents, and paper and turn it into computerized sources, it requires a large amount of budget and process to prevent copyright law violation. So it will also take time to prepare in the advancement of the library. So regardless of the advantage and disadvantages, the digitization of library materials has advanced rapidly. With this fact, it is also important for the librarians and the administration to know that though technology helps the library advance and support the library in disseminating information sources and provide fast service, it is important to resist the urge to digitize everything in a library or archival connection. So the copyright law are still need to be followed. For the conclusion, digitization in San Sebastian College is relevant not just because it is being implemented to some libraries all over the world. So digitization is one of the pandemic revelation that there are many uncertain things that may happen in this lifetime, and because of the prolonged pandemic, the unknown future events or situation may lead to something bigger than this. And with the advancement in technology and the possibility that distance learning and education will be adopted even after this pandemic ends, it is important to know when to start the digitization process. The changes in information source are rapid and cannot be determined. It is a must that a librarian or an information specialist and its institution know and open to keep up with it. So digitization is a must, more importantly in an academic and special library, where 21st century users demands growth in the changing information needs of library of of knowledge. So librarian does not need to begin to deal with the development of technology in the library. Librarians need to keep up with the development and use it as an advantage to provide better service in the library systems. So the researchers, in the light of the foregoing conclusion, recommends the following. First is the adaptation of annotated bibliography to provide computerized list of research resources that includes a brief description and summary of the content and analysis and evaluation of the research material. Second is to improve library OPAC that are being used as an access tool and research guide to the collection of the library that provides bibliographic data in the machine-readable form. Third is to begin the digitization process by coordinating in the ICT team and start digitizing research materials like thesis papers, etc. for researchers. As I've said, the changes in information sources are rapid and cannot be determined. Librarians need to keep up with the development of the technology and use it as an advantage to provide better service in the library system. Lastly, we have the references. So here are the list of the references that I have used in this research paper. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss Abigail. For recap po tayo, ito po yung tatlong researches na narinig natin ngayong araw na to. Webinar Initiatives of Human Resource Development Amidst Pandemic, Basis for a Proposed Plan of Action by Miss Hazel Pamaran. Sana po nakikinig tayo at nagtitake down notes kasi po meron tayong gagawin mamaya na question and answer. Second, Parents' Preferences on Establishing Pre-Elementary and Elementary Program in San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Canlubang by Dr. Corazon and Mr. Paulo Daya. And third, yung kakarinig lang po natin kanina, Relevance of Digitization in San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Manila Libraries, a Pandemic Revelation by Miss Abigail Felices and Mrs. Princess Arlene Zamora. So, magbe-break muna tayo. Meron pa po tayong hinihintay na 3 pang presenters. And right now, type nyo nga, bravo baste, para sa lahat ng nandito sa Zoom meeting natin. Bravo baste. Lahat po ng naririnig pa ako, yun, napakarami pang talagang alive na alive at kicking. Bravo baste. Happy founding anniversary po sa bawat isa sa atin. At ngayon, ready na ba kayo? Magkakaroon tayo ngayon ng icebreaker. Meron na naman pong mananalo ng 3 100 pesos GCash. Ready na kayo? Okay. Yung una kong tanong, magmumula sa mga narinig po natin. Ito-type nyo lang po kung sino yung gumawa nitong research na to. Sasabihin ko po yung title. Parents' Preferences, wait nyo muna po yung 1, 2, 3, go before you write the answer and you click send. Okay? So this is the first question. Sino po yung nagsulat ng research na to? Parents' Preferences on Establishing Pre-Elementary and Elementary Program in San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Canlubang. Ready? Get set? Go! Mukhang meron na yatang nakasagot. Medyo nahirapan lang po kung Sino po yung nakasagot ng tama? Tama ba si Miss Jeline Audrey? Okay po. Congratulations. Ang gagaling ng mga nandito natin sa Zoom, talagang nakikinig. Very good. Next. Sino po yung nagsulat nito? Webinar Initiatives of the Human Resource Development Amidst Pandemic Basis for a Proposed Plan of Action. Ready? Get set. Go. Uy, ang bilis. Alright, who's that? Who went first? I guess it's Ma'am Gladys, grabe ka na. Pangalawa mo na to. So congratulations. I think it's Miss Gladys De Castro again. So meron na siyang 200 pesos GCash. Tuloy-tuloy lang po ang daloy ng sagot. Next. Last one. Sino po yung nagsulat ng Relevance of Digitization in San Sebastian College-Recoletos Manila Libraries, a Pandemic Revelation? Ready? Wala pa po akong sinasabi. Ready? Get set. Go. Sino to? Wait lang. Hindi ko makita. Pwede po bang pakibulong sa akin nung nagpa-facilitate ko sino yung nauna? Kasi ang bilis talaga nila eh. Si Joshua ang nauna. Yeah, congratulations Joshua. Meron kang 100 pesos GCash. At ngayon, we will proceed sa ating pangalawang set po ng tatlong presenter. Unang-una, pang-apat po natin na presenter, si Dr. Ricardo Opido, Faculty of IGS. Ang kanyang research is about designing a leadership model in the new normal of selected universities and colleges in Metro Manila. Makinig po tayo.
I'm Dr. Ricardo Opido from the Institute of Graduate Studies, and it's an honor to present my research produced last year, 2021, entitled Designing a Leadership Model in the New Normal of Selected Universities and Colleges in Metro Manila. This study is inspired by the occurrence of pandemic in 2020, and the result of this study is applicable until now and can be expanded into other industries such as corporate industries because they are not
Alright po, nagkaroon lang tayo ng konting technical difficulty. Gusto niyo pa ba maglaro? Sige, laro muna tayo ng konti. Alright, dahil Foundation Week po natin, ang mga itatanong ko sa inyo, hindi ko nakikita ang aking sarili. Ang mga tatanong ko sa inyo, syempre about sa San Sebastian. Okay? So, same rules pa rin po tayo, mananalo ng GCash, 100 pesos. Yon. So, ready na kayo? Ito po ang aking unang tanong. Ano yung specific name ng San Sebastian College-Recoletos Manila Main Library? Ready? Get set. Go. Oh, okay. Tama si Jen Rick. Santo Tomas Villanova Library. Congratulations, Jenrick. Another question. Isa pa po. Before tayo mag-proceed ulit sa ating mga researches, anong specific name ng San Sebastian Law Building? Ready? Get set. Go. Tatanggapin ko po yung St. Augustine. Sino yung nag-St. Augustine? Sino to? Hindi ko kilala si SSC-R Manila. Cosme. Okay, Cosme Veronica. Congratulations po. At ngayon, magpo-proceed na tayo. Mamaya ulit meron tayong pa-game. So, makinig po tayo na mabuti sa ating susunod na presenter.
I'm Dr. Ricardo Opido from the Institute of Graduate Studies, and it's an honor to present my research produced last year, 2021, entitled Designing a Leadership Model in the New Normal of Selected Universities and Colleges in Metro Manila. This study is inspired by the occurrence of pandemic in 2020, and the result of this study is applicable until now and can be expanded into other industries such as corporate industries, because they are now adapting the hybrid working wherein the utilization of virtual community or virtual network is appreciated. And also this study is novel in a sense that pandemic or the unprecedented occurrence of pandemic in the context of virtual community is applied. This discussion will focus on 5 major agenda, namely the preview of the statement of the problem, theoretical and conceptual framework, methodology, the summary of the results and discussion anchored to the statement of the problem, the conclusions and recommendations, including the leadership design that was produced by this research. As displayed herein, there are 8 statements of the problems. These serve as the backbone of the research, and as I read, the statement of the problem number 1 is what is the profile of the respondents as to age, sex, educational attainment, and the level of position in the organization. Okay. Number 2 is what is the respondents' assessment as to the leadership behaviors in terms of modeling the way, inspiring a shared vision, challenging the process, enabling others to act, and encouraging the heart. Number 3 statement of the problem is how the respondents assess the leadership actions of the selected institution in the virtual environment as to flexibility, procedures, communications, and the tools and platforms used. All right. This statement of the problem number 2 and 3 will be discussed on how it was arrived in the succeeding slides. And statement of the problem number 4 is the question: is there any significant relationship between the perception of respondents' assessment on leadership behaviors as to their profile? What are the significant differences of leadership behaviors and leadership actions in terms of demographic profiles? And number 6, is there any significant relationship between the leadership behaviors and leadership actions? 7th, what are the leadership challenges in managing in the new normal of selected colleges and universities in Metro Manila? And the last statement of the problem is what leadership model can be designed as an intervention to the new normal virtual community. So number 8 discusses more on the result of this research. On theoretical framework, there are 2 theories in this research, which comes as the foundation of the leadership model. Existing leadership philosophies from Causes and Posner in 2018, which also used in different aspects of leadership research in the past decades. In this study, it comes out as a group of variable called the perception, as you see here. And under the Causes and Posner philosophy, it is commonly known as the leadership practices, okay, designated in every aspect of leadership. These are modeling the way, inspiring a shared vision, challenging the process, and enabling the others to act, and encouraging the heart. These are empirical study to be used in the new collective theories. So as you notice, it was mentioned in the statement of of the problem number 2 and 3. And the other set of variable is called the actuals. This is based on the expectation that each leadership aspect should be demonstrated on the ground. Thus, the perception of the leadership practices can be measured through actual observations or performance. The following are collective theories, a set of variables. You see here, the theoretical framework, how leadership actions are measured in operational aspect other than the followers' perceptions. The second set of variables called as the actuals in this research, composing of flexibility, policies and procedures, communications, tools and platforms. These are derived from different philosophies and also from recent researches. It is the belief of this research that if all of these variables or leadership values are combined, there is a perfect actuations of leadership. Here now is the preview of the conceptual framework of the study. It displays the traditional profile of the respondents. The purpose is to show which among the respondents are greatly affected or has influence to the leadership variables. The framework has thin display or outline of virtual community that may be an impact in the development of leadership model. Online or virtual community is the dividing line that makes the leadership model novel, right? Thus, the leadership practices or perception may be different when it is done online. And in the same manner, actuations or performances. The leadership design herein is based on virtual context. As to results in discussion, it will be following the order of the statement of the problem. Thus, we begin with the statement of the problem number 1, the profiles of the respondents. As you see here, there are 217 participants, 24.9% are leaders, while 75.1% are followers. There are 4 demographic profiles which are subjected to the study: the age, sex, educational attainment, and the role. Age is associated to further findings as a factor to challenges in the virtual community. There are more females, which is 65.9% than males, and this is not a factor to the overall study. The educational attainment is aligned to the expected post. As to leadership practices inventory, it is generally rated as usually, with a mean value of 8.07 and a standard deviation of 1.83. This results to an implication that there is a need to increase leadership exemplary practices according to the category of variables, particularly in the weak points, matched to the operations done in the virtual online environment. While leaders and followers' actual practices is generally agreeing with a low range scale of 3.31. So these responses suggest that further testing to come up with the root cause of the possible misalignment of leadership practices and the actual works. This triggers the leaders and followers to challenge the process as part of the LPI perception as to behavior. Question of significant relationship between the perception of the respondents' assessment on leadership behaviors as to their profile. There can be a possible other result of relationship when the context is in the traditional face-to-face, which can be subject to further study. Significant differences of leadership behavior and leadership actions in terms of demographic profiles. The hypothesis number 2 is accepted because the results show no statistically significant differences. Further suggests that profiles as to age, sex, education, and level of position as an independent variables does not in any way affects the observations, perceptions, and actual experiences when leadership practices are the subject. As to age, the age ranges are ages where there is presence of aspirations and ages where there is personal life fulfillment. That's from Lencher and Sortiex. in 2018. In a nutshell, the overall statistical treatment shows no significant differences in the assessment of the respondents as to the leadership practices and leadership actions when they are grouped according to their demographic profiles. Maneuvering complexity through advanced technologies for teaching, learning, globalization, and changing demographic defeats the influencing factor of the demographic profile on perceived and actual leadership practices as demonstrated by Kant's empirical study in 2017. As to significant relationship between leadership behaviors and leadership actions, that's statement of the problem number 6, there was statistically significant low positive correlation between leadership behavior and leadership actions. The low positive correlation indicates the gap which needs to be connected and strengthen the alignment of leadership exemplary practices and actions done on the operations online. And the pressure of alignment is through the activation of the 10 commitments of exemplary leadership towards the framework leadership model designed. And the same result implies less commitment to the leadership practices claimed by Kozes and Posner in 2018, the 10 commitment that will enhance the traits of becoming a leader model. Main challenges, and there are respective categories in each main challenge. First is the performance management, wherein the challenges encountered are output-based performance, the agile working, and they are challenged in terms of motivation. The policy implementation, there is a vagueness of guidelines and necessity of policy, that is a question. And information management, how the files are managed, how communications are done, and the authority matrix. And there are also limited tools and materials in the sudden transition of face-to-face to a virtual community. So it has something to do with virtual literacy, so the digital literacy, technical issues, and technological infrastructure, capacity, and resources as to the ability of the institution to produce. Here is the leadership designed by the research. So there should be a meeting of the 10 commitments of exemplary leadership and the leadership virtual community challenges. So as you notice here, there should be a way for them to meet, right? So it can be done through a synchronized remote leadership in the new normal. So this is a combination of the leadership practices and the leadership actions. So there should be a synchronization, and that synchronization only happens when it addressed all the issues and concerns in the preceding statement of the problem. Leadership exemplary practices can be aligned to actual and operational practices online when the specific virtual challenges related to performance, policy, technological literacy, tools, and communications are addressed in a timely manner. The alignment of perception and operation in leadership is achieved when the synchronized remote leadership in the new normal is applied as a framework. Technological infrastructure, capacity of the entity, and resources are the priorities on the ground to be more effective in actual leadership online. To push the alignment of leadership exemplary practices and actual operations, support from higher leadership or government in the case of state colleges in the policy creation which incorporates the leadership model designed by this study. As to recommendations, the use of the leadership model generated by this research should be utilized. So it will be an intervention to new normal or an intervention to the hybrid working program established by different schools, colleges, universities, or even the expanded version of this research by developing a granular intervention program, and also the incorporation of Kaizen methodologies. The weak items or challenges are variables and sub-variables of further study. So it is highly recommended to have a further study in order to show the effectiveness of this research. And the new normal is the new trend. And as we noticed, therefore, it is highly recommended that leaders should jive in the leadership trend that offered by the virtual community. So it has something to do with change management.
Marami pong salamat, sir. At just a correction po dun sa kanina natin. Nagkamali lang tayo. St. Thomas of Villanova Library po, yung ating specific name for San Sebastian, College-Recoletos, Manila, main library. At yung nanalo po doon, nakatama, is si Miss Abigail Felices. So congratulations. And let's not forget yung attendance po ng bawat isa. We're going to put on the comment section po yung ating attendance. All right. So now we're going to proceed in our next presenter. The next presenter would be Ms. Jennifer A. Carag. And her research is about soaring demand on public health innovation through digitization due pandemic. Again, soaring demand on public health innovation through digitalization due to pandemic or tech stocks worth investing. So, pakinggan po natin siya.
Good afternoon to all participants, my fellow co-presenters, faculty members, and the panel of reactors. It is a great honor to be chosen and to represent the ETF department in this prestigious Caritas et Scientia multidisciplinary research colloquium. Without further ado, I am here to present my published case study article entitled Soaring Demand on Public Health Innovation Through Digitalization Due to Pandemic. Are the tech stocks worth investing? I want to start the presentation with the question, are tech stocks shaping the new future? Before we start the presentation, by way of introduction, I am Jennifer Carag. Everyone calls me Jen. I'm a former lending team manager for an Australian-based mortgage company. I have been in the foreign banking industry for more than 8 years. I was recently promoted as a technical training lead with over 14 years of experience in the BPO industry. And I am a proud ETF student, taking up a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, major in Financial Management. Introduction. Early 2020, the world was struck by a health crisis outbreak. And who doesn't know the infamous COVID-19? It is a pneumonia-like disease that has a very high fatality and transmissibility rate. The linchpin of handling the pandemic was containment, mitigation, contact tracing, and despite all-out efforts around the world, there have been varying degrees of success in different countries. Technology and innovation has hastily emerged, specifically in the public health sector. Some may see pandemic as devastating, as it can be, but with tech companies, they see it as an opportunity. One, contact tracing has been made digitalized, which breaks the manual process of monitoring exposed individuals. There are software applications made the medical consultation process cost-effective. A lot of advanced countries integrated digital technology into government coordinated containment and mitigation processes such as monitoring and surveillance, contact tracing, lockdowns, quarantines, and of course, the vaccine. In addition to that, chatbots or artificial intelligence platforms were developed. The innovation that technology industries have to offer is too vast and broad, making the tech sector well liked and definitely marketable. The unprecedented economic problems caused by the pandemic outbreak, such as inflation, all-time highs and lows in the stock market, poverty rate, and job loss. They all serve as a driving force to develop and adopt new digital technologies, especially in the healthcare sector. As a result, technology sector becomes in demand and is considered high performing sector in the stock market. The tech heavy Nasdaq has gained about 20% return this year to date. Technology is also known for its extreme competition and fleeting obsolescence. Digitalization may sound promising, but given the circumstances added by the fickleness in the economy globally, our $1 million question is, are tech stocks worth investing? According to a study by Topu and Gulal in 2020, no sector in the modern economy that technology has not touched. The idea of investing in the tech stocks can be appealing to those who aim to achieve quick major gains. As per the risk reward trade off principle, the greater the risk, the higher the potential for profit or loss. An article from Forbes in 2020 has reminded everyone that a wise investor must be equipped with enough knowledge and must be a good risk evaluator by increasing awareness and establishing concrete goals and objectives. And there are three things that every investor must consider before investing in tech stocks. Number one, be the master of your own. You must think ahead. Tech stocks show off higher premiums than almost any other market category, especially during pandemic. Be a hedgehog. Consider hedging higher growth tech stocks with recurring exposed stocks to offset any risks. Knowing your risk appetite remains the basic rule in investing. You only invest what you're comfortable losing. And lastly, scout. Always get ready for a tech clash. Investor must brace for impact on tech clashes relating to geopolitical issues, tax implications, copyright, privacy, and security concerns. Some technology firms continue to self-regulate rather than wait for the imposed definite regulations, causing conflicts. We therefore conclude that the world is in the middle of generational shift, from basic to advanced, keypads to touch screens, desktop software to cloud-based software as a service products. And being said that, a good tech stock is the one that trades at a reasonable valuation given its growth prospects. It remains and continues to be compelling for investors. The battle of the unknown and unknowable is not yet over. The world may expect new business models and a lot of innovators to emerge fundamentally to support the shift of our life to online. And a successful investor nowadays is equipped, knowledgeable, and a good risk evaluator. So every investor must widen the circle of competence to reduce the exposure. It may be through adding other sectors such as financial, industrials, and this is one of the famous lines that I um, learned from one of my class. You only invest what you are comfortable to lose. And that's it for today's presentation. Thank you for everyone's time and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Jennifer A. Carag. And now, for our last presenter, Mr. Samuel Alfon, Assessment of the Students towards the Distance Education Program of the Senior High School Department. So this is written alongside with Ms. Aileen Kimora Fernandez. Makinig po tayo.
According to M. David Merrill, the first principle of instruction, with the growing popularity of e-learning, it occurred that the E should mean more than electronic. If we are going to call it e-learning, it must be effective, efficient, and engaging. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Samuel Emmanuel Alfon of the Senior High School Department, and I am about to discuss a research paper entitled Assessment of the Students Towards the Distance Education Program of the Senior High School Department. With me writing this manuscript is my co-researcher, Mrs. Aileen Kimora Fernandez. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there was a sudden need to impose lockdowns across different areas in the Philippines in order to further control the spread of the virus. With the new laws prohibiting large gatherings, there were many sectors of the society that were affected. One of these is the educational sector. With the closure of the schools worldwide, there is need to a new environment needed in order to conduct classes, wherein the lives of the teachers, learners, and other school staff will not be endangered. In order to ensure the public safety while continuing education, there was an urgent shift towards digital teaching and learning setups. Before the pandemic, students and teachers collaborate and engage physically in the four walls of the classroom, basically here. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, classes shifted from face-to-face to online in order to keep students and teachers safe and ended up here in a virtual classroom.
As a response to the school's closure, the Department of Education responded with the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan. According to Secretary Briones, the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan is the Department of Education's major response and commitment in protecting the health, safety, and well-being of learners, teachers, and personnel. Under this new plan, Department of Education coined the term distance learning, which means learning takes place between the teacher and the learner who are geographically remote from each other during instruction. There are three main modalities that are available under the distance learning approach, depending on the student's available resources. First, online distance learning. Second, modular distance learning. And lastly, self-learning module. Under the online distance learning, lessons are remotely delivered by teachers through video sharing platforms, and also with a virtual classroom. These learning modalities heavily relies on the presence of a stable internet and the availability of tools and gadgets such as computer, tablet, and smartphone. Under this modality, a stable internet is a must, and it serves as the facilitator between learners and teachers along the peer-to-peer communication. Additionally, online learning is mainly split under two categories. First, synchronous learning, wherein online learning happens in the real time through the assistance of a video conferencing platforms. And lastly, the asynchronous learning, wherein learners occur through online channels without real-time interaction.
Due to the challenges brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the Department of Education Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, the response of the institution towards the call of implementing distance education, the senior high school department implements online distance learning, which includes synchronous and asynchronous learning. With the implementation of the distance education, assessment of the program offered by the institution is highly important in order for the school to know how students undergo with the distance education, assures quality of instruction, abide abided with the provisions of the Department of Education, and lastly, tracking and monitoring strengths and weaknesses of the program. As a result, it will help the school to improve its weaknesses as well as maintaining its own strength. The aims of this research is to answer the following question in related to the assessment of the senior high school students towards the distance education program. Number one, what is the demographic profile of the respondents if they are grouped according to strand and grade level? What are the assessment of the senior high school student toward the distance education program in terms of teaching pedagogy, assessment, asynchronous activity or on task, and lastly, the online learning platform if they are grouped according to grade level and strand? Is there a significant relationship between the assessment of the distance education program in terms of teaching pedagogy, assessment, asynchronous activity or on task, online learning platform if they are grouped according to strand and grade level? On the screen is a conceptual framework of this study. The IPO model shows the input of the study is the assessments of the senior high school student on the following area: teaching pedagogy, assessment, asynchronous activities, online learning platform. This input will undergo a process of online survey or online evaluation. The tool that was used was based on the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan of the Department of Education, and having the output to have the assessment of the students towards the distance education program of the senior high school department. The goal of this study is to be able to know the assessment of the senior high school students towards the distance education program in terms of teaching pedagogy, assessment, asynchronous activity, and online learning. And lastly, to be able to reflect on the assessment of the students in order to enhance the weak points and strengthen the strong points of the program. And now let's proceed with the significance of the study. This study will be beneficial to the following. First, we have the San Sebastian College-Recoletos Manila's Senior High School Department. This study will serve as a guide on how the department will enhance and improve online distance classes in this time. It would also serve as a reflection to the program to further strengthen the strong points of the program as well as improving the weakest points. Second, for the teachers. As teaching pedagogy is one of the areas that was assessed by the students, it will be the framework on how teachers will deliver their lessons and to align their strategies based on the needs and demands of the most essential learning competencies of the Department of Education, designed for distance education. Third, we have the students. As our major client and recipient of the Gustinian Recollect brand of education, they could navigate and assess the quality of instructions and platforms used for the distance education. They could also assure that they are receiving quality education amidst the implementation of the distance education. And lastly, we have the future researchers. This study could be the basis of future researches that could wider and cover the scope of the study. Let us now proceed to the research methodology. The research design of this study is descriptive quantitative research. And the research locale is technically is the SSC-R Manila's senior high school department. Our respondents or research respondents are the randomly selected senior high school students who are going to evaluate or assess this distance education program of the department. Our respondents is divided or grouped into two categories. First, for strand and grade level. For strand, we have 47 respondents for ABM, gas, which has 10 respondents, for UMS has 42 respondents, and for STEM, we had 92 respondents, and a total of 191 sample. For grade level, for grade 11, we have 96, and for grade 12, we have 95. The research instrument used in the study was an online research-made survey questionnaire method. The instrument is aligned and contextualized based on the requirements of the Department of Education towards the implementation of the distance learning, which are the provisions stated in the Department of Education Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan in the year 2020. And the essential parts of the assessments to be assessed by the students are as follows. First is a teaching pedagogy that also covers the synchronous classes, assessment and evaluation, asynchronous classes and activities, and lastly, the online learning platform. In data gathering procedure, we follow this certain procedure in order for us to gather the data from our students. The data or the survey happened last March 2022, and the responses were observed from time to time. For data analysis procedure, mean and ranking was used to determine the descriptive and statistical analysis, while Pearson R was used to determine the significant relationship of every variable connected to our study. Let us now proceed with the results and discussion. The results of discussion of the evaluation or the assessment of the students towards the distance education program of the senior high school department. First, let's have the teaching pedagogy. For the teaching pedagogy, here are the different provisions discovered. First, teachers use appropriate teaching instruction based on the modified enhanced learning competencies of the Department of Education. Second, teachers use various and diverse online application, which includes and not limited to Kahoot, quizzes, and YouTube, to address the needs and requirements for the lessons presented and discussed, and also to promote engagement and participation of the students. Third, teachers discuss well both online and on-task activities using online platform. Fourth, teachers interact and engage well during synchronous classes. And lastly, the teacher demonstrates logical and organized flow of the lesson during synchronous classes. The results are as follows. For grade level, grade 11 and grade 12 assess the teaching pedagogy or the synchronous classes of the distance education program of the senior high school department as satisfactory, while for strand, STEM, ABM, and GAS assess the program as satisfactory, while UMS assess it as excellent. Let us proceed with assessment and evaluation. The provisions for assessment and evaluation are as follows. Appropriate rubrics and criteria were used in all both synchronous and asynchronous activities. Content of the assessment contains appropriate measurement to determine the skills and learning outcomes of the students. Hands-on activities as an assessment tool are implemented every after discussion, especially on the subjects that require enhancing skills like mathematics, science, and alike. Written and oral assessment, which includes recitation, quizzes, summative tests, are employed by the teachers after discussion. Teachers give opportunities to students to raise questions, give examples, illustrate concepts, and alike. For the result for assessments and evaluation, grade 11 students assess it as excellent, while grade 12 students assess it as satisfactory. While for strand, STEM, ABM, and GAS assess it as satisfactory, while UMS assess it as excellent. Let us now proceed with asynchronous classes and activities. The provisions for asynchronous classes and activities are as follows. Tasks are aligned with the discussion during synchronous and asynchronous classes. Teachers are responsive for excessive uh, clarifications during asynchronous classes. Tasks can be accomplished on the given time span of the teachers. Tasks given during asynchronous classes contain instructions that are easy to understand. Activities allow students to analyze, observe, interpret, apply, and create. Activities are suited to the needs and interests of the students. Tools for the activities used by the students online are compatible and appropriate. So the result are as follows. For grade level and strand, they all assess asynchronous classes and activities as satisfactory. Let us proceed with online learning platform. For online learning platform, the provisions are as follows. Google Suites, with its features Meet and Classroom, is conducive for meaningful and relevant learning. Online learning platform is conducive for real-time learning both for teachers and students. Online learning platform is applicable for asynchronous class organized with deadlines and to-do list. Technologies and applications like Canva, Mentimeter are adopted as student-friendly. Features of the online learning platform is accessible and easy to access for students and teachers. The following are our assessment or the student's assessment for online learning platform. Both grade level and strand assess it as excellent. Let us now proceed with the correlation of our teaching pedagogy assessment, asynchronous classes, activities, and online learning platform to the different strands of the senior high school department. It shows that for teaching pedagogy, there is no significant relationship, while for assessment, ABM and UMS has significant relationship, while GAS and STEM has significant relationship with the assessment of the distance education program of the senior high school department. While for asynchronous classes and activities, only GAS and STEM has a significant relationship with the asynchronous classes and activities. While for online learning and platform, all four strand has no significant relationship on it. For the correlation of grade 11 students on the assessment of distance education program, it shows that teaching pedagogy and assessment are correlated or significantly related to the grade 11 students. While for grade 12 students, it shows that teaching pedagogy, assessment, asynchronous activities, and online learning platform are significantly related to the grade 12 students. Let us now proceed with the conclusions. For teaching pedagogy, assessment, as well as the asynchronous classes and activities, together with the online learning platforms, it really shows that the students assess it as satisfactory. It was also concluded that the distance education program of the senior high school department is a useful tool and resources when teachers and students are geographically remoted with each other. Distance education program of the senior high different possibilities in order to offer a quality of instructions to our dear students. And also there is no significant relationship on the strand and the assessment of the distance education program of the senior high school department in terms of teaching pedagogy. There is a significant relationship on GAS and STEM and the assessment of the distance learning in terms of assessment and asynchronous classes. There is no significant relationship on the strand and the assessment of the distance education program of the senior high school department in terms of learning platform. When classified to grade level grade 11 students has no significant relationship towards asynchronous classes or significant relationship towards asynchronous classes and activities. It has a significant relationship on teaching pedagogy and assessment. There is a significant relationship on grade 12 students and the assessment of the distance education program of the senior high school department in terms of teaching pedagogy, assessment, and asynchronous classes as well as online learning platform. It is also concluded that grade 12 students are the different categories of the assessment of the distance education program, for they had been in the program for 2 consecutive years. They tend more to be involved in the program and drastically see the progress of the said program. For the recommendations, the following are hereby recommended. First, the stakeholders and other allied agencies of the school that help in promoting the continuity of the distance education, to continually uphold more programs to ensure the quality of education to be offered to our students. Second, the school must invest more on platforms that could foster the skills of the students even in online learning setup. Third, enrichment activities must be implemented more to improve their learning, and learning will not be limited only during synchronous classes. And lastly, to improve and enhance more on the teaching pedagogy of the teachers, they must not stop learning and exploring possibilities in times that there are many boundaries and hindrances, as well as challenges that could degrade the teaching and learning process. And that is the assessment of the students towards the distance education program of the senior high school department. Once again, I am Samuel E. Alfon, and I will be leaving this quote. And I quote, ensuring quality education is one of the most important things we can do for the future generation. Once again, good afternoon, everyone, and happy 81st founding anniversary to everyone. Thank you and bravo, Baste.
Yeah, indeed. Happy 81st founding anniversary, San Sebastian. Sa lahat na nandito at nandyan pa, pakisabi nga, bravo Baste. Pakitype po sa ating comment section. Bravo Baste. And we're also reminding every students po na nasa ating Zoom meeting right now, pakiclick po yung ating isasend sa comment section mamaya po na for your attendance. Okay? So recap lang po tayo. Yung tatlo po na narinig natin muli ng mga researches ay ito, designing a leadership model in the new normal of selected universities and colleges in Metro Manila, presented by Dr. Ricardo Opido. Soaring demand on public health innovation through digitalization due to pandemic. Are the tech stocks worth investing by Jennifer Carag? And of course, yung narinig lang po natin kanina, assessment of the students towards the distance education program of the senior high school department by Sir Samuel Alfon and Miss Eileen Kimora Fernandez. At ngayon, bago tayo mag-proceed sa ating susunod na segment, magkakaroon muna tayo ng games. Okay? So narinig niyo na yung ating tatlo na natapos na researches. Tignan po natin. Isusulat nyo kung sino yung nagsulat ng research na yon. Okay ba? So ito-type nyo po sa ating comment section. Now, sino ang nagsulat ng soaring demand on public health innovation through digitalization due to pandemic are the tech stock worth investing? Ready? Get set, go. Okay, Josh, sino? Sino? Okay, titignan po natin. Sino kaya? All right. Let me see. Si Teacher Jem, I guess. All right. Si Teacher Jem. Thank you. Next. Pasulat po natin yan, ha. Susunod po. Sino ang nagsulat ng designing a leadership model in the new normal of selected universities and colleges in Metro Manila? Ready, set, go. John. Si Sir John. Right? Yung tama. Yeah. Ang nagsulat po nun is si Dr. Ricardo Opido. And last, sino po ang nagsulat ng assessment of the students towards distance education program of the senior high school department? Okay, ready? Get set, go. Okay. Sobrang bilis. Pero sino yung nakita? May nakita po ako na nag-go ako. Let me see. Pwede po ba niyo akong mamaya po, i-announce natin kasi napakabilis kung sino yung mga nag-type. So yeah, congratulations to everyone po at salamat sa lahat na nag-participate. Right now, titignan po natin yung ating mga mechanics again. Pwede po bang paki-flash ng ating mga mechanics sa screen? Ito po yung ating criteria for judging. So una, best paper presenter. The panel of reactors is 85%. And of course, lahat na nanonood sa atin ngayon, 15% po. The researcher is innovative and artistic in the presentation of his paper. That is 50 points. The researcher possesses a wide background on the subject matter, 10 points. The researcher has the ability to express himself fluently and clearly, 10 points. The researcher is receptive to suggestion, 10 points. The researcher is tactful and shows maturity in deliberations. The researcher possesses a wide background on the subject matter. At ngayon po, titingnan po natin yung ating Mentimeter. Okay, ipoproceed ko muna po dito. The criteria for judging Outstanding Researcher of the Year. Una-una po, contributing to knowledge is 15 points. Originality is 15 points. Relevance to current needs is 20 points. Rigor or methodologies, 30 points. And utility, usefulness, 20 points po. Ito po ulit yung ating panel of reactors. Pwede po bang pakita sa ating screen yung ating panel of reactors? Of course, we have Miss Maria Luisa C. De Vera, Faculty Junior High School Department ng San Sebastian. Si Miss Olga Pagia, Principal of Grade School Department, San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Manila. Of course, we have Mr. Remard Doneza, Faculty San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Cavite Campus, and Dr. Cristina Caluza, Area Chair College Department of San Sebastian College-Recoletos, Manila. Ito na po. Titignan natin. Sir Mario, ready po ba yung ating Mentimeter? I think nag-share na po ng link dun sa ating comment section. Yeah? Thank you, sir. Ngayon po, you have to, lahat po ng nasa Zoom, please click on that. At ang ating tanong, titignan natin ang pulso ng Sebastino. Sino po ang pinakamagaling na presenter, research presenter para sa inyo? I-type nyo po, nasa comment section po natin yung link at makikita natin ngayon. Ayan, pumapasok na yung results. Oh, nag-iiba-iba. Sir, pwedeng palakihan pa po para mas makita pa natin yung ating screen, ang results. Sa lahat ng hindi pa po sumasagot, nasa chat box po natin yung link. Ayan, makikita natin yun. Mukhang nanguna si Sir Samuel Alfon. Sinusundan ni Miss Jennifer and Miss Hazel. And of course, Miss Abigail. Pwede pa po. Nasa comment section po yung ating link. Okay, we still have 10 more seconds para ipasok po ninyo ang inyong boto. This will contribute to the overall points of the researchers. Sige, magka-count of 30 pa tayo daw para mas matagal pa yung pagpasok natin. Mukhang nagto-traffic yung ating site. $20. Please check the link at doon po kayo bumoto. Pwede po ba nating masend ulit yung link for those people na hindi pa makapasok? Yeah. Isa-send po namin ulit. Mukhang gustong-gusto talaga nilang bumoto. Pakisend po muli yung ating link. Please check the comments dito po sa ating chat box. Nandun po. Ayan, nasend na ulit. 10 seconds to vote. Nangunguna si Sir Samuel Alfon. Congratulations everyone, especially to our presenters. Lahat po tayo talagang panalo dito. Again, we would like to acknowledge everyone po na nandito, at especially yung ating presenters, Ms. Hazel Pamaran, Dr. Corazon, and Mr. Paulo Daya, Ms. Abigail Felices, Dr. Ricardo Opido, Ms. Jennifer Carag, and Mr. Samuel Alfon. Ngayon po, we will have a short break, 10 to 15 minutes para po sa ating deliberation. And then after that, yung reaction po ng ating panel. So thank you so much.
Do you wish to be great? Then begin by being.
Marami pong salamat. And right now, we're going to hear from our reactors. Sino pong gustong mauna from our panel of reactors? Okay, I think mauuna po si Miss Caluza. Dr. Caluza. Ma'am?
Hello. Hi, sorry. Good afternoon. Kadaldal. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. And like to thank the organizers for inviting me as one of the special reactor for this afternoon's research colloquium. And for this research colloquium, I will not be part of the identifying the best reactor and the outstanding researcher, but I will just give my comments with regards to the paper that will be presented this afternoon. So I hope this will be clear. Okay, so I would like to congratulate. I would like to congratulate all the presenters for this afternoon because you have focused on some very important issues, during the pandemic, and it's really something that is very vital, and very important, especially that schools and universities here, not only here, all over the world, has really or probably has suffered because of this pandemic, that has really affected the operations of the school. So I'd like to congratulate for coming up with researches that will focus on the different topics with regards to schools and universities in Metro Manila, looking into the risk assessment in investing on technology, facilities that will be strengthens the curriculum being offered to address the issues of the students, especially in terms of research. I'd like also to congratulate those research that focuses also with employees' needs, and the employees' needs, and even their growth and development, through webinars, and also the possibility of doing or additional offering, other programs as well. Also focusing as well with leadership behavior, as the key informants in other schools and university, and as well as looking into the teaching pedagogy, as well as leading into how we could help our students. All the researchers that been presented this afternoon would really benefit our clientele, in order for us also to improve, our services to our students. So I'd like to congratulate in general our presenters for this afternoon. Okay, so probably I could start off first with the paper being presented by my colleague, Ms. Hazel Pomaran, wherein she focuses on the webinars being given by the HRDC amidst the pandemic. And her paper was focused more on proposing a plan of action. The paper was really very timely. The paper, the content, even the variables that was used in the paper or in the research is very, very important in order to identify, in order to identify the needs, of the employees in terms of getting what to expect when this department will be giving webinars. But it's sad, that the respondents of the papers or the research has parang kulang lang siya because and Miss Hazel admitted during her presentation that there are few respondents from other departments, which is also vital sana in order for us to help the HRDC in pertaining to how would they address the issues of the employees in our institution. So the participation of respondents is vital in the completion of the research. So probably when we would again, the researches will again be will continue or will be developed or will be considered again. There will be further research that will be considered pertaining to this webinars, or looking into evaluating the different webinars being offered. Probably participation of the respondents is very, very important. All the departments should be also giving their responses, in order for us to look over to conduct the plan of action of the HRDC. Um, so though I was looking into the proposed plan of action, but I think it would be better, if the recommendations that was given by the proponent will be presented, in the supposed to be proposed plan of action, which is part of the title being given by the proponent this afternoon, or the researcher. So but I do appreciate that there are already responses, there are already recommendations, and the results of the study sorry, was very reflective of the results. So probably the researcher would have to consider the plan of action, and probably also, which is one of the important factors, is to consider also the latest, or the articles, or even journals that can support the results of the study. Because theories, especially right now during the pandemic, there are lots of researches that can help strengthen and also lead us, to do the expected output of the study. So I think we have to also consider the literatures, the articles and journals being used in that. Okay, so that is for our first proponent, Ms. Hazel Pamaran. Okay, to continue, for the parents' preferences being presented by my colleague from San Sebastian Canlubang, I appreciate, that the variables being used in the statement of the problems, like the profile, the preferences of the parents, and other factors to consider, during in the statement of the problem, wherein they use, the proponent or the researchers use the Osman, Bakuk, and the push and pull theory, in their theoretical framework, was reflected in their statement of the problem. So it will also be good, it will be also better if the feasibility study, which is the aim of the study, was sana presented as well, wherein the different factors, like the quality, educational services, school boarding, lecturers, financial capability, religion, and personal matter, is very, very important in the creation of the feasibility study. So if this will continue, or this will be done, this will really create a feasibility study that will really see us the clear picture if we are going to offer programs, or the pre-elementary and elementary programs in the said institution. Okay, next. With the relevance of digitalization of SSC-R being present, a pandemic revelation presented by Ms. Felices and also Ms. Princess Zamora. This, I think, is really also very important, because I think Felices is working in the library, and offers with help for my colleague and my co-faculty, Ms. Princess. And the tandem is really good, because digitalization. Okay, my internet is unstalled. Sorry. The Miss Zamora and Miss Felices is tandem really help help us in giving the needs of the institution in terms of library needs. But just as a comments that is being used by the theoretical framework, which is Yao and Yitian 2010, and Gunwanderna and Melsaka of 2004. I think we have to probably reconsider to choose the other studies that can help support the digitalization, the relevance of digitalization in terms of pandemic, because the title itself says a pandemic revelation. So during this 2020 and 2004, there were no pandemic yet. So I think you might consider other theoretical framework that will support what is really happening on the ground. There are really studies that can already focus on digitalization that can help support this, to strengthen the research of this paper. But this research is really very important and vital, because this will benefit our students, especially in research classes, and other case studies. They will be this will be the digitalization of our researches, no, other important things in our library that is needed at home by the students is really very vital. And this is something to have to be looking forward. And I'd like to congratulate the group, Miss Felices and Miss Princess Zamora, for coming up with this kind of paper. So probably you will also like to discover or consider that this paper will also lead into the development of digitalization process in SSC-R as your output of the study. No, because that is one of the highlight of your paper, no, development of digitalization process in SSC-R. So with the help of the ICT, no, with the help of the of our other offices in our institution, I think this will come into reality when you really look over the development of digitalization process in our institution. Okay, okay. So next would be the paper of my former student and now my colleague, Dr. Apido. I'd like to congratulate my, I'm very proud of this guy because no, I saw him started no, in the IGS, no, wherein I appreciated that he looked over in designing a leadership model in the new normal of selected university and college in Metro Manila. Though I didn't see the whole paper, no, I was looking over, considering, are we talking about the university and colleges from the public or the or government, no, sorry, government or the private sector? Because definitely the leadership, no, you have to also consider that because we all know that for if we are talking about the government sector, they are governed with the civil service, no, nor the rulings, no, given by the civil service, no. But for private institutions like us, no, you have to also consider the different approaches, no, in terms of who handles the schools, no. Kasi iba-iba naman yan, eh, no? Iba-iba yung klase ng management ng school. No, but I appreciate this leadership model because you have come up, no, you have come up or you have seen the leadership practices and even comparing it to the leadership action, and that is a good and the theoretical framework that you have used is very, very good, no. It's really something that is needed, no, by the but looking into, no, your lead, kasi I'm writing all the notes, no, looking into, you have seen the different major challenges, no, the performance management, the policy implementation, information management, and the tools, no, and then these are the different main challenges, no, that that was being discussed, no, in the study. But what struck me the most is the synchronization, the model that was presented this afternoon in terms of the synchronization of leadership practices and action wherein the Kaizen methodology, right, Mr. Apido, Dr. Apido, was highlighted as part of the synchronization of leadership practices and action. Wherein I suppose, as I remember that the Kaizen methodology is being coming from the Japanese, it's a Japanese term, right? Wherein we look over to changing for the better, right? Am I agree, no? It's a Japanese business philosophy wherein that you look over with the operations and looking into how to solve the problems, people and process, no, and philosophies that we look into this kind of methodology. Siguro, it will also be good, no, sooner or later, Ms. Dr. Apido, no, you try to consider using as well your variables, no, identifying your own model as Apido's model, no, the Apido's model. That's what I'm looking over, no, as a unique, how you synchronize, no, the practices and the actions of the leaders, no, of the institutions in identifying, using your variables and the challenges and even the challenges that we are facing, the leaders, the ones who, you know, who handles the institutions, no. It will be better if you have identified that the Apido model okay, that I was looking into instead of the Kaizen methodology. You might pattern it with the Kaizen methodology, but it will be better if you probably use all the variables that you have used, you know, in terms of leadership, practices, and actions, no? In which this will be applied to different schools, universities, and colleges, both for the government and private sector. Kasi I was not able to read the entire paper kasi siguro ganito ang reaction ko. But if I have read everything, so siguro mag-iiba, no? Siguro, no, Dr. Apido. No? So siguro titingnan ko pa dito yung population of the study, no? Because you mentioned that you have 217 participants, wherein 24.9 are leaders and 75.1 are the followers. So, okay. So, yun lang, Dr. Apido. I hope it could help. Okay?
Thank you, Dr. Kalu.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Apido. For Miss Karag, no? Our tech stocks, shipping the new normal ba? I really appreciate the study because this is something that is not only by all, no, by all schools and university in terms of investing on technology, and this is very, very important, no, right now, that the risk, no, we have to consider the different risks, no, in looking into this needs, no, of the different converting it from the from the traditional and then investing into technology, which is something very, very important right now, considering the different variables that you have mentioned, like the inflation, the economic concerns, now the poverty and job loss. I think this will really help. And if this paper will be developed into a full paper, like for example, in a higher note, this will really help a lot, not only the healthcare, no, but all the industry that is really shifting already on the inventory or in investing on technology. Okay, congratulations to Ms. Cara. To the last presenters, Sir Alphon, and to my colleagues, Sir Alphon and Ma'am Fernandez. I really also appreciate that you have looked over, no, in assessing the distant education program of the senior high schools department, no. But you considered some of the important highlights using that synchronous and asynchronous session. But for example, no, if you wanted to explore or probably look into again with this research, probably it might be considered if you will also look into using the same variables, adding some online learning modalities as part of your variables, like the content, no, the collaboration, the reflection, and other important components of online learning modalities. Probably this will be also a research that will also be helpful to your department, especially if you will look into enhancing your learning continuity plan, no? Especially right now that before the pandemic, or we are starting on the pandemic, we're very, kung anong gagawin natin or how do we shift from different modalities, right? So how would we address the concerns of our students? So probably right now, because we have already that initial learning continuity plan at this moment, probably this paper or this research will help us enhance the learning continuity plan that you have for the senior high school, in which you could also apply to your student if there are some modalities that have to be improved, especially on the effectiveness to our students who are our main clientele in this institution. No, so for that, no, I'd like to congratulate everybody, and I hope that I have helped, no, everybody in the improvement of your researches. And to the organizers, Dr. Maranan, Dr. Ponce, I'd like to thank you for inviting me for this afternoon's being one of the special reactor for your research colloquium for this Foundation Week celebration. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Caluza. Maraming salamat po sa mga inputs po ninyo. And next, Ms. Maria Luisa De Vera. Ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. So I would like to greet everyone happy 81st founding anniversary. And thank you also to the organizers for having invited me over to become one of the reactors in today's presentation. So first, I would like to congratulate all our researchers they have shared important researchers that will be very useful not only for us but most especially for almost everyone. We are also very thankful to our institutions at Sebastian College-Recoletos, Manila for becoming more concerned in inviting all faculty members in doing our own respective research. Okay. So the first researcher was Ma'am Hazel Famaran. So the research made by Ma'am Hazel Famaran was very useful at the present time due to the pandemic situation because learning also takes place during the online webinars. So luckily, not all of the members of the institutions of our institutions in Sebastian College were not being able to become respondents due to maybe some of the limitations made for this particular study. But hopefully in the future research to be made, may I also suggest that try to look into more possible ways in order for the topic on the webinars would be not only be made useful not only for the participants, but most especially to create interactive interaction with all the audience or the participants. But I would like also to commend Ma'am Hazel Pamaran for having been able to present it well, and at the same time she is also able, I would like also to commend her having used the very good communication skills. Second, for the parents' preferences, okay, Sir Daya, okay, and also for Dr. Corazon, I would like to commend also Mr. Paulo Daya because he's also well versed, and based on his study, okay, it could probably be considered that it's not only about the having the parents' preferences be made into you should not only focus only on the parents' preferences, but you have to also look on the different things that would be made considered as helpful to the parents for them to be able to analyze the best way in order for them to really have their own preferences for their children. Okay. Also, congratulations to Sir. Third, for Sir Opidio, for Ma'am Felices. Okay. We know for a fact that the digitization of the physical books are very much needed, not only in the present situation, but also in all the schools. So in this particular part,